play. For the side of Mahina Gaming, I think they need a more sturdier, damage dealer here. They are opting for the Harith, but I'm kind of shaky on this Harith pick though, because they won't have that much of a follow-up damage. Let's say the Harith goes in, where's the follow-up damage after? So that kind of shakes me up a bit. Okay, I'll do this instead. I'm not gonna jinx any more hoverings anymore.
Oh my goodness. I've seen this before, like Angela and Aldous, and it's scary, but at the same time it's hard to bet on it, because if you missed your timings in the early game, you can be punished heavily.
Yes.
And you might not get the farm that you needed if you stick to this lineup. So it's gonna be, we can see Aldous pop off, because that's what is needed for Mahina Gaming to get us to game 3 as we head into game 2, Patchy.
Yes, I mean basically this is a similar strategy for Mahina Gaming, Aldous, but instead of a carry, Aldous this time is the one who's supposed to be given an amount of space so that he could really stack up, so that when it comes to the roaming phases, he could really be a threat for PESO Esports. But again, going back here, I love the rotation of PESO Esports. You're really denying and getting these buffs as early as 40 seconds. So this is good call. But at the same time, I guess Mahina Gaming can abuse this by really charging up on the lanes. But I guess that's a bit too late right now, since the rotation transitioned to the middle side. But here onto the bottom, the Uzumaki with a low break of health. Let's see if the Cho will be able to kill it off by using that flicker. But here onto the blue side, however, let's see, it's kind of a very, very tight fight right here. The Esmeralda will be using the damages and forcing surprisingly PESO Esports to really go back into their turf, but manages to get a kill for themselves. Really good cornering. Let's see though, will IC survive? Yes.
Revitalize on top of the Stardust dance. You can see how tanky Reek was, and as a result they didn't die. But wow, okay. So,
I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that when I used to Luoyi.
Nicely done, nicely done.
Really, that was a really good, reflexes for the side of Luoyi. Really abusing with the remaining mana that he had. So that was a good call. Going back though, I think it's still back to the scaling game here for the side of both teams, because compared to game number 1, Mahina Gaming already has, they have this spark of hope, this spark of light right here into the early phases. But let's see, Tempest Blaze will be used to actually deny the Esmeralda here, and goes for that kill.
As a result, now they have recovered in terms of the farm, and when it comes to experience, there's really a lot happening now for side of PESO Esports. They have everybody's almost at level 4. I think only reserving the bend things Luoyi, but Luoyi is almost going for level 4 anyway, so that's good. Josh, on the other hand, our Aldous Actually managed to pick up significant amount of farm, 1.4k at the moment.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
generally good now for Mahina Po Gaming, but let's see. Look at this, the jump. Oh, this the snatch on the orange buff. And the double sinigang will be able to take it away. Uzumaki jumps forward. Glorious pathway going to be forced out. But it means that the members of Mahina Po Gaming will be at least sent away from their comfort zone.
This forces Mahina Po Gaming to not really engage or to go to any fights simply because one, the glorious pathway is out for now because of the cooldown, and this gives space for PESO Esports to go for objectives as usual, because this is really good discipline for PESO Esports right here. Even though that Mahina Po Gaming is getting some kills through and fro and economy as well, I like it that they go one step ahead in terms of getting these objectives. Guardian's Barrier really pressuring the Cho right here for a few minutes, and for the side of PESO Esports. And okay, he will be kicked through. They use away the dragon into that tower. Wild charge to escape. Let's see if they will get engagements. Okay, so far none. That was good enough to really save his butt right there. Let's see, D'Angelo will be stunning though the Thams right here. Let's see if they could get that potential kill. Luoyi will be using his skill sets, still saving the lives of his friend in need. Aldu though uses the ult but wasn't able to really teleport because he knows the dangers that lurk from within. Oh wow.
Wow.
That was deep. Okay.
That was deep indeed. Okay, I think that there will be a little bit of a clash here in the mid lane. Power Nation is going to be cast. In comes the Ling. It's the Guardian's Barrier. Far too late. Not being able to punish anyone. As I think the mid lane is going to be a point of contention. They slow down the Angela. Do they want to go for this? No, the Angela is safe. On the other side though, the Tham's going to lose the battle against the Cho. Cho gets his second kill while Uzumaki gets his second death. So obviously the Cho is going to be able to get a lot of early game presence now, nearing his way into the Blade of Despair.
I think that PESO Esports here really respects the Cho pick of Mahina Po Gaming, because I noticed that during the minutes of our game, they are really committed into 3-manning up the Cho earlier. And they kind of, the thing is, they kind of overextend their stay there. So it gives the other members though to really go and funnel. But at the same time though, PESO Esports here, even though they are doing that, it just goes to show that they have the capability to really pressure out Mahina Po Gaming. But here, 4-1 fight. And again, Uzumaki will be slain by the Aldu. But in exchange, they will be going still for objectives and stealing the buffs away from Mahina Po Gaming.
Now, Dalawang Sinigang pops the ultimate. Bad spot, honestly. Josh now Falling Starmoon though. Alchus is gonna be taken out, but the Falling Starmoon is promising. Icy though, nicely timed. Last Insanity. Not gonna be able to get the kill, but they will fend off the attack for a clean take onto Josh. Bottom lane with the Dragon committed.
Again,
Uzumaki still has no longer has the ultimate actually.
Yeah. But
nevertheless,
again,
the turtle is gonna be taken. Yeah, sorry, Pachi.
It's okay, it's okay. I mean, I'm just really amazed how PESO Esports is really good at diversions, really. Because if you notice, they are onto the middle lane, just getting some, fending them off, and it gave Ling a huge amount of space to go and target the turtle take. So that's really, something that it's a bit hard to do, because usually when we see some games, some go on mid and then some really goes for vision onto the turtle side. So I like it how PESO Esports is really maintaining this diversion play.
So much damage coming out of the Louis moments. Kind of scary. But fortunately for Mahina Po Gaming, there's not any follow-up ready at that moment. And I think you're going to be inspired to play the Louis more now. So we have the Dragon against the Grok as they take out the Grok. Nice timing from lane. They want to go for IC more onto the bottom lane. That's Josh using the ultimate just to run away from the Ling. And IC is in a lot of trouble. In fact, he will fall after that Angela as well. Nice chain of events coming out from Mahina Po Gaming.
Yes, this is what I mentioned earlier about really respecting this show pick, because if you see, once the show is really showing some signs of life, like you mentioned earlier, that's the reason why they were trying to three-man down him, the attempt early onto the bottom side to prevent this from happening. And let's see, Reek here will be using the Falling Storm Moon, so this gives a little bit of a cooldown, and PESO Esports here using that opportunity. Gorgeous Barrier will use to corner them down, and the Ling will be going for the kill. Glorious Pathway will be used, but not enough to escape. And here we go. They managed to really get the compensation that Lei initially had onto the early
Turtle
minutes.
resurrecting soon.
Domosiga out for blood, not gonna reach anyone. Top lane, Ben thinks was Austin Esports, our supports. Just pressuring the top lane actually, while the rest of their squad are doing something better in another part of the map. It's a turtle.
Which is
a turtle and a turret actually that they were able to get out. So that's a lot of economy going in favor of PESO Esports.
This is where the statement "make your wallet fat" comes into play, because PESO Esports is really putting those pesos in. Well, it's not really peso, but the currency, you get the point. And that's what they're currently doing right now, but the Templar Blaze will be forced to use so that he won't get picked off anytime soon. The Aldu will be aiming for the lane, but going here into a very messy fight. Last Insanity will be to shove them away, but Lei and Aldu will be getting a kill for himself to retaliate, and this is not yet over. The Angelo will be having a cleanup for himself, really turning the tables around for the side of Mahina Gaming. Not so weak right here. The Mortality will be used, but cornered by 3 people, and Icy, I don't think he'd be able to make it. He will not survive. And Lei here, that was a beautiful escape into that turret.
Yeah, such a massive fight obviously for Mahina Gaming. Very nice chain of I'd say this chain of skills. Now they waited for the commitment coming out from PESO Esports, and knowing that the Grok wasn't there, they decided maybe it's time to fight. They had the Glorious Pathway in combination with the Falling Star Moon, which meant that the Aljus as well as this Esmeralda was able to get to the backlines faster because of the fact that the Glorious Pathway was there. It was also placed in a nice spot because it was an alley that they had to go through, like in the middle. It's quite tight, which meant that the damage output from both the Hylos, Aljus, even the Angela, Esmeralda is gonna be on point and on the mark, and they were able to get it all. Very nice decision making now for Mahina Gaming as compared to their previous game.
Yes, and that made them close in the gap in terms of economy and XP as well. This means for this, we're already entering our mid game right now, and for Mahina Gaming, they just really need to be patient and let this show go for initiation, followed by the tanky lineups for the Aldu and the Hylos. And speaking of the Thams, in game 1 he was very efficient, but not on to game number 2 that we have right now.
No, they're gonna control now the Grok. No more Firaga armor available for Icy, but in comes the Link from the back. Lights, they shut down the Cho. Can they get more? Dealing the damage. The Aldos is down, as well as the Angela. And that was such a bad decision coming out from Mahina Gaming. And even when they felt that they are strong, it's really, how do I say this, ambitious for them to dive that way. And they were duly punished by the Ling.
They really overcommitted their stay right there. There's this saying that don't take too much what you can't really offer.
Look at this.
Going back here, Glorious Pathway will be
Retribution is
used.
available for Reek. Who's gonna get this? It's gonna be the export to steal that away. Unleash the Beast, taking so much damage. Esmeralda is out with the damage from the Louis as well. Nicely done.
Yes, this is where the shot calling comes into play right here, Wolf, because initially it was PESO Esports that was taking that Lord side, and it was a good attempt for Unleash the Beast and Reek to potentially steal, but unfortunately numbers matter in terms of manpower, so they really have to take that into consideration. Now Mahina Gaming is down to 3 people. Of course, the usual go-to for PESO Esports right here is just to really abuse the economy that they can get both on their side and to the jungle side of Mahina Gaming.
With the Lord now, it's gonna be totally different when it comes to like the strength of both teams. Again, the minions themselves, they can push and they're pressuring the mid lane. Now look at Ivori, forced to use the flicker just to run away from the Luyi as well as the other members of PESO Esports. Top lane, there's the Thams accompanying the Lord so that any minion wave clear is not going to be possible. Ben Things as well as the Domong Sinigang are quite ready for this. Look at the placement of the skills from the Luyi. This is such a very good usage of that skill. Now they want to go forward the wild charge, almost taking down one. But in the middle, another inhibitor falls. Seiya, I don't know what's gonna happen now.
Oh, that was a beautiful skill set by the lawyer right here, followed by that beautiful cleanup. But then again, the link with the Tempest Blades, and look at that assassination from the X-Borg as well. They really don't care much about the minions taking. All they have to do is just get those heroes and go for the base. And that is what